Hello, Mark. How you doing?
Hey, Bono, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm so glad I'm having you again here on my show. I really appreciate that. So, what you gonna sing today?
Well, today I'm going to do a Ray Charles song called Hit the Road Jack.
There you go. So whenever you're ready, please do it. I can't wait.
Okay. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. What you say? Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. Oh baby, why you treat me so mean? You're the meanest old woman I've ever seen. I guess if you say so, I'll pack up my things and go. That's right, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. Oh baby, why you treat me this way? I'll be back on my feet someday. Don't care if you do, it's understood. You ain't got no money and you ain't no good. Guess if you say so, I'll pack up my things and go. That's right, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. All right. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. 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 Thank you.
David! Oh my God!
And here we go.
There you go.
And here we go again.
How are you?
I'm good. You recording now?
Yes, I am actually.
Okay.
I just put another device there. So, yeah. So, how have you been?
I'm good, man. Busy, working on a couple of projects I'm developing. So, you stay busy. I'm trying to be busy during this pandemic. So it's been working. I gotta admit, I'm staying busy, busier than I thought I would be. Not doing stand up like I like to, but I'm definitely busy.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's fine. Well, thank you very much for being here today again with me. And the last time, unfortunately, the technical things happened and I couldn't record it. I really appreciate that. So, do you want to say hi to watching us now and they're gonna watch us later, maybe?
Say again.
Do you want to say hi to those who are watching us now and they're
What's
gonna
up,
watch us
everybody?
later?
This is David Arnold. I'm very excited to be here. This is the second time that we've tried to do this, and I'm very excited because I believe we're gonna get through it this time. We had some good moments, and now we're gonna do them again. So if you saw this is like a comedy show, if you saw the first time, you're gonna see some of the same stuff again.
Yes.
But it's gonna be fantastic.
Okay, so I'm going to try the same questions again. So, my first question is, who are comedians and what's your interpretations of comedy? Like, what's the difference between you and someone who is not comedian?
Well, The difference between a comedian and somebody who's not, like we like to call y'all civilians, is what we call you. And
Okay.
we
That term.
see things through a different lens. We see life through a different lens. We can't help but to look for the funny. We can't help but to find things that could be tragic to some people. Comedians immediately find comedy in. That's just how we are. And I feel like that is our biggest thing. A comedian, we have to express our thoughts through comedy and our pain, share our pain through comedy. That's our defense mechanism. That's the way we process stuff. That's the difference between a comedian and somebody who's not. We can always find the humor in the darkest moments. The darker, the better.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I know, it's terrible, but it's true.
All of that. So, all right. So tell me, why comedy? I want to take you back 2 years ago, the time that you started working as a comedian. I really want to, what happened to you when you said to yourself, that's it, who I want to be in the future, and which is today. So what happened? Tell me.
Back in the day, like before I started, like what made me recognize comedy was when I saw my mother and my aunts watching Eddie Murphy's Delirious. He was in a red suit. I remember it's like 1982. I know I was 10 maybe. And I remember watching these people, my parents and my aunts, laughing so hard. And I didn't understand what was making them laugh like this. And I saw this guy talking. And I remember thinking to myself, he's not doing anything but telling funny stories. You know what I mean? Like, I can do that. Like, that's what I thought. I didn't know then that that was a career. I didn't know that was something you could do. But and then when I was 17, 7 years later, I went and did an open mic. I tried, because it stayed with me. So I did an open mic in Cleveland, did not go well.
Right.
Never did comedy again for 10 years later. But during that time of that open mic at 17 till I was 27, 28, I used to write down all these funny thoughts and ideas in my head. I kept them in a shoebox. And so when I decided to get on stage, 20 years later after that, I knew then, oh, this is what I want to do. Because these things have crossed my life 3 times. And now every time I have more and more of a desire to do it. And then that last time I got on stage, I was like, oh, I could be good at this. I think this is for me. And I've never stopped doing it since.
Okay, and that's all right. So that's very interesting. And I'd like to know what inspires you. Like what? Not now. Now you're famous. You're popular.
Yeah.
You're back in those days. What was inspiring you?
Back then,
Yeah, back then.
well, what inspired me in the beginning was to make people laugh. I just wanted to hear people laugh. When I came up, people used to tell me I was funny, but I was never the class clown. But I was very envious of the class clowns in my school when I came up. Like, they were so funny to me, and I would just sit back in amazement and watch how they would just have the classroom cracking up. I did not have that in me. I didn't have the courage to do that. But when I first started doing stand-up, what inspired me was just the desire to hear people laugh. I just wanted to know that I could incite laughter. That's all I cared about.
Okay. Well, that's yeah. Well, the main reason why your past is interesting to me, as we discussed previously, is because of the country where you were born and raised. And as an African American, maybe entering to or get into the business of the comedy was much probably different and more
Mhm.
difficult. Talk to me about those challenges.
Well, one of the biggest challenges that I realized being a black comedian is that our road is different than a white comedian. When I first
Mhm.
started doing stand up, I started outside of Los Angeles. I started touring the country. I just up and down the country for 2 years, opening up for every headliner that was at whatever comedy, from Minnesota to New York to Florida, wherever I was going, right? And most of
Mhm.
them were white. So most of the rooms that I did were white. Then when I moved to Los Angeles, what I realized is that they had two separate worlds of comedy: black comedy, white comedy. And I didn't know that. So when I came here, I was shocked to see that I immediately was, I'm black, so they consider, oh, you want to work at this club, you should come back on this night, which was the black night, and
Right.
audition. But like, I was very offended by that, because I was like, you don't even know what kind of comedy I do. How can you assume that that's where I belong? So I went through this dance for many years where in the white comedy clubs, in the white rooms, they thought I was, oh, you're Def Jam, you know. And in the black comedy rooms, they thought I was too white. So I didn't really fit in either one of these spaces for a long time. So I would go back and forth and try to figure out my voice between these two places. And then
Mhm.
what I did was I got to a place where I got comfortable being me, and then I could exist anywhere. And now I can be at a club one night at the Laugh Factory and do an all black room, drive right down the street 20 minutes later and do an all white room and do the same act and get the same response, because I found my voice. So that was the biggest thing that I realized as a black comedian. We have to we have to travel different roads to get to where we're going than white comics do. White comics don't have to worry about being funny to black people. They don't have that worry. That never is something they're going to have to do. But when you want to get to a certain level as a black comedian, there are going to be times that the industry, Hollywood, when they come to see you or they want to see you showcase, they want to see you in the place that they're used to seeing people, which could be all white room. So you got to be able to be funny in front of white people and black people, or you
Right.
just kind of pigeonholed as, oh, you're this kind of person or you're that kind of person. So my goal was just focus on being funny.
Well, you are.
Thank you. And it's working. And it's
You
working
are.
right now.
You. You are. I love what you're doing. So some comedians are see to some comedians are situational
Right.
comedians
Yeah.
who can create and act in a moment. But
Right.
some of them have already prepared a script and then add the things while they're going on stage. So which
Right.
one are you? Do you usually get ready? That's what's gonna say, or no? Whatever happens on stage, that you go with the flow.
I think there's a balance when you become a headliner and you get comfortable in your craft. You have the act that you've worked on, the jokes you worked on, and then you have that ability to go off script and just be funny in the moment. And I feel like seasoned comedians can do both. They can move in and out of those spaces seamlessly. And I'm one of those people. It
Okay.
takes time to get there. In the beginning, I was very structured. I had a set. I didn't want to stray away from that set because I didn't know what that meant. So I would just stay here and do this. But now it's almost as exciting for me to go into that unknown world, because I don't know what's going to happen either. I know it's going to be funny, but I don't know what's going to happen. So, those are it's a combination of both for me. I can do both seamlessly now.
Okay, which can be challenging sometimes. Am I right?
If you're not good at it, yeah. If you're not good, absolutely.
Of course. So, I believe one of the hardest things comedians do is to perform outside of the country in which they were born. For example, when you want to perform outside of the United States, it makes it even more difficult for you because of the
Yeah.
differences, different language, different culture. You have to
Right.
be somehow familiar with that culture and
Yes.
slangs
Yes.
country. Talk to me about those experiences a bit, please.
Well, there's been times when I have, I remember performing in Holland, and I realized that the pace of comedy is not as fast. So, like in America, I could be, brr, 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 whereas in Holland, especially people who didn't speak English fluently all the time, it took them a minute. So I'd have to slow my pace down. When I was in England, when I was performing in London, I felt just the pop culture, the way they reference things was different. So when I started to realize those things, I started to change my pace. And then also, what I decided to do was to find the things that we have that are common instead of like pop culture, and the way slang might be used is different. So I would stay away from that,
Right.
and I would do more things. Like I would talk about relationships, I would talk about kids, I would talk about families. I don't care if you're from America or if you're from, Holland or England. There are couples who are sick of each other and they get on each other's nerves no matter what country you live in. And so I would talk about that. I would talk about a wife who is sick of her husband talking. I would talk about the husband who is sick of his wife complaining. Like I would do the same thing because I knew that we all could connect under that. And when I found that, I really started to flourish and started to grow. And even my comedy now, like everything I do on social media, I have a lot of people outside of America that follow my stand up. Even some of my stand up, even some of my videos on Instagram, my Facebook page has been translated into 12 different languages now because people get the material that I'm doing in every country, the subject matter.
Absolutely. So you're focusing more when you want to do like the comedy. You're focusing more in the mutual things, where
Yes,
the
I do.
where,
Yes.
exactly where the things are more uh make
Common.
sense in any context.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. Okay, that's very understandable. Okay,
Absolutely.
now I want to change the atmosphere as we made agreement. So I want you give us a tour. I'm sure your followers have seen 100 times your place, but I want you place to show us around and see
Okay.
what's going on.
Okay. All right. So I'll show you this. We're in my office. This is my office. And this is, where I spend most of my time. Let me show you this. That's my shoe collection there. This, I had to start this because I had to find a way to control my addiction. So what I did is if I can't fit it up here, then I don't get any new shoes. So if I put something up, I have to take something out. So today, these came today. These are some new shoes that I got today, right? Just some shoes to run in. But I had to get rid of a pair in order to bring those in. Now I will say, I have a box here on the floor that I'm probably gonna put right here in this empty spot. This is the lad. This literally just came today, and so these will go up here. These will go in there, and that's where this is my way to control my addiction for shoes. And these are only my tennis shoes. My dress shoes are upstairs in a different place. That's different. This right here, this is the one and only personalized license plate that I've ever had. When I first moved to LA and after I finally got my first car, they didn't have funny available. So I put F-U-N-Y, Funy, and it says I'm funny. And I remember I had this on the back of my Honda. I think I had a Honda CRV truck. and this is what, and that was my that was my license plates. This is my wall. I just got my wall done. This is, I like to put sayings on my wall. This one says opportunity. If opportunity doesn't present itself, you build a door. And I feel like that is, huh?
Right, yes.
I feel like that's relevant for me because that's what I do. This is the artwork from my Netflix special that is streaming now on Netflix. And I had them send this to me because I wanted to put this up to remember my first one. I'm literally just signed a deal to do my second Netflix special. So I will be doing that later next year. But that's something special to me. That's my grandma. This is stuff that's very important to me. When I filmed it, this is a proclamation from the city that they gave me when I filmed in Cleveland, my hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. They, I don't know why I don't know what this means when they give you this. The mayor or the governor came out and gave it to me, and I was like, okay, this ain't bad for a dude who graduated from high school with a 1.8. So this I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you that in a second. This here is a collection of all of Richard Pryor's stand-up. This is every single one of his stand-up albums. I've never opened it. It's all on CD, and I keep them there. And that is something that's just, he's the greatest. So that's just mine. I'll tell you about this too. This is something else I'll tell you about in a minute. Let's see what else we got here. This is my wife, Julie. Julie was the third African-American to dance online with the Rockettes. This is a picture of her and when they do the toy soldiers in New York. So that's her. She was their spokesperson. So she was with Santa, and she was always the person out front during the time, that. And this is the other side of my office. This is a book that I did the week I went to go film my special. I did a joke about wanting a change machine, this is a little change machine. I don't know if you've seen these, where you can get change out of that. Okay. This is a little change machine. Inside of it is quarters, nickels, dimes, and pennies. And this is what ice cream truck people would carry to give you change. Like if you go to a vendor at a baseball game. So I used to do a joke about this, and I did it on some TV show, and they sent me, my fans, I got 30 of them in the mail. Of these came in the mail. And so I filled one up and kept it, and I just put it up here. And it's been up here forever. I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. And so that's a poster of this, not a poster, this is an original painting that I got the year he died, and this guy painted it for me. He only painted two, and this is one of them that he painted. So that is something that that's special to me. And this is where I sit and do my work. Now I will show you this. My last job that I had was, I was a registered nurse. I was a nurse, and I worked as a nurse for 10 years my first 10 years here in Los Angeles, as I pursued my stand-up career. And I remember when my tenure as a nurse, I was running a family practice clinic in Culver City. And I remember I was leaving this job. It was my last job. And I was leaving. And one of the physicians, as a goodbye present, she gave me this. This, as you can see, is a globe. And it has the world in it. It's a world. The world is inside. And can you see that? And I asked her why she gave me this. She said, because you're stepping out of a career that most people try to work to get, to pursue something that is your desire in your heart. And she said, I want you to know that you have the world in your hands to do whatever you want to do. And she said, so I want to give this to you. So anytime you're out there trying to pursue what you're trying to pursue, and it's going to be hard, you're going to struggle sometime, but you know that if you work hard, you can have everything. And this is what she gave me. And it's something special to me, so I keep that. This is probably the most personal thing that I have. This is a box that is filled with things that are very, very important to me. This is like a lot of it is from my grandfather. This is one of my grandfather's handkerchiefs, who, by the way, was one of the funniest people that I'd ever met in my life. And he was the guy who, my grandfather was the person who showed me how to work hard. This was his watch one of his last watches that he had that I kept, you know, and I kept this. That's my grandfather's. These are my tags from when I was in the military. You know, this is my dog. I think my social. I was in the Navy. That's where I got my nursing credentials at. And then this, I'll show you this. This is, I don't know, some people might know what this is. This is a coin from Alcoholics Anonymous. I've been sober for 23 years. And this is the coin that I got when I had been sober for 20. As you can see, the 2 X's there, that's for 20 years. And I remember when I got this and they handed this to me, and I have many. Here's a 7-year one. Here's my 3-year one. You see the 3 on there. But this is the one for 20 years. This is the one. This is the welcome chip from day 1, the first day I ever went and got sober. So what you're looking at between here are 2 different. You're looking at a 20-year period. My first day and 20 years, which now has been 3 years since I got this one. That is something that's very important to me. And this is, here's another. I can't believe I have all this stuff. This is the name tag for the last job that I had waiting tables. And I said, I knew that this was going, when I first started doing stand-up, I knew this was, I had to wait tables for a time. And I said, I'm going to keep this because I'm never waiting tables again. And I said I was going to keep this. This is the last thing. This is the last thing I'll show you. This is from, it's called the Olympics. When I was in rehab for the 3rd time, I remember they had this like Olympics tournament where all the rehabs would compete against each other in sporting events. So I play basketball, and our team at our rehab, we won the championship, the 3-on-3 basketball. And this was the gold medal they gave us. And this is what I remember about getting this. What I remember about getting this was when I had been out there struggling, I just felt worthless. When you're struggling with drugs and alcohol or any kind of addiction, you can feel worthless. And that's what I was feeling. But I remember when they gave us this thing, which really, it's just a little thing. It's not real gold, it's just a little thing. But the self-esteem that it fired back into my system let me know that I was worth more than what I had done so far in my life, and that I had a bigger purpose than what I had been doing. So I kept this because this represents the moment that I felt my self-esteem come back. And so I kept that because of this. And this was the thing that made me go and pursue my career here in Los Angeles, like full steam ahead. And so every time I see this, this is probably one of the most important things to me. So I keep all of these things here in this little, you know, in this little chest that I have. And, you know, most people, it would look like, you know, just some junk. But to me, these are the things that are probably the most real in my life, because those are the things that make up who I am, you know, and they allow me to work in this business and not be of this business.
Of course. And that was, I'm so privileged that I'm having this conversation with you, and because people get a different side and see a different side of comedian, you know, no matter where they are from, but sometimes because they're a comedian means like they are always happy, you know, they have no problems in their lives, and they're like, but when you're talking about your past, actually shows people that are trying you are and the journey that's been through, and which is amazing. And now I want to ask you to take me to your famous family.
Oh,
where are they?
Okay. Let me see if I can find. I think my daughters might be. One of them I know is doing her hair, so she might not be available. But I can get you. Let me see if I can. Girls, where are you? Where's Molly? Can you come, guys? Come here for a second. Where's AG? Still got her hair. I'll come here real quick. I'm gonna have you come back to my office. I'm gonna have them come in here because last time I walked out is when the Wi-Fi went out. So I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna have them come here so we can all talk. Hey Julie, pull up that chair right there.
That's okay.
Where's Ashley?
Where's my glasses, honey?
Right there. Yeah, that's good. There it is.
All right.
All right, let's see.
Ah, hi.
And then there's Ashlyn.
Hi.
And then we're missing Anna Grace.
Hello.
This is and I'm missing my oldest. She's dyeing her hair. Anna Grace.
She's all the way up.
She's all the way on the other side of the house. But she's dyeing her hair. She was like, "You didn't tell me we were doing an interview. Look at my hair." She has foil and everything. Oh, it's out of control. So, but we're here.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Go get it. Huh?
All right,
for Ashley.
Julie.
Yes, hi.
Hi. So, how are you?
I'm doing good. We're hanging in there. There's a lot going on in the United States of America. Between, it's just a lot. It's a lot.
I know we are in curfew here in Australia, which is crazy. Julie, I really appreciate that for your time being here. And my very first question for you is, how are you dealing with this man?
Very carefully. It's very carefully. You know, I know he's funny, but he's not funny always at home. He's very real. So I'm like, I don't feel like I'm married to someone who's always on. I don't feel like I'm married to like a comedian who's always cracking jokes. No, like he's a real person. Like he's a real husband.
She said I'm an asshole. That's what she said.
No, I didn't say that. I just said it's real. It's very real. Tylenol is on the side of my. I was saying Tylenol is on the side of my bed.
That's okay. So, you and your family are quite popular, and I love the sense of caring that unfortunately, I get very late to know David and your family. And when I came across your profile, I said, who are these people? Just feel, through each video, I can feel that there's live happening, which it makes me very happy. I've been away from my parents from Iran, so I was born in Iran, so I haven't seen my family for 15 years. Okay, and because of my situation, I cannot return to Iran, because if I return to Iran, I will get arrested. And when I crossed to your profile, I loved it. And I said, well, I need to take these people, bring them on my live show and talk to them, because I watch your video every day, David, and I love it. And your family. It's like, I really love it. So, I asked my first question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As I've said, I was born in Iran until I migrated to Australia. And I didn't have any idea about racism and etc. because I never dealt with it in Iran. In Iran, we don't have much foreign people living there. And these days, we are witnessing many demonstrations in relation to Black Lives Matter, which I think it's very late doing this, but at least it's good people are doing it. And I believe you two have two different views about this subject. Tell me a little bit about that. However, I believe that you both were born in America. Am I right?
Yes. Excuse me.
That's okay. Okay, please
So
go.
different views on Black Lives
Lo-
Matter. I think people sometimes hear Black Lives Matter and that it is misunderstood. I think people think, oh, it's an organization and what the organization stands for, we're against. Instead of really understanding that uh, we're in a situation where we have to make a conversation that Black lives are perceived as not being equal and always matter like other situations. It's kind of like if you lived in a neighborhood and all the houses in the neighborhood are beautiful and all the houses in the neighborhood are important, but one house is on fire and you need to get water to that house that's on fire because that house is in danger. That house needs help. That house matters. And you have to say, no, this house matters. And then when someone says, well, no, all these houses matter, the whole neighborhood matters, it's obvious. But unless this house that's on fire is getting water, then
All the houses don't matter, obviously.
yeah, it's like people can't acknowledge or recognize or don't want to embrace what's really happening. And a lot of it's not necessarily racist. And I had to come to grips with that because I had friends who really didn't understand. It's more ignorance. But I take issue with the fact that if you are a person, a parent, especially raising children and raising young ladies, and you haven't taken the time to really educate yourself or educate your family because you're living in a bubble, that really bothers me. And I take issue with the fact that people say, well, I don't see color, I'm colorblind. Well, I want you to see my color. I like my color. I like being African American. I like the person I am. An African American comes with a culture. It's not only a color of the skin. It comes with a culture. It comes with a heritage. It comes with an ancestry that I'm proud of. So I want you to see my color. So it's been a real eye-opening experience, but I really would encourage everyone not to get hung up on a term Black Lives Matter, but really embrace why African Americans or people of color or minorities are feeling like they have to say, hey, we matter. Why are we saying that? That is an issue. We're just not saying that to hear ourselves breathe. There's something going on. There's a pandemic going on. There's an epidemic going on. And this epidemic deals with our African American males being shot down, as well as other disservices and discredits that's been going on in our race for centuries.
Absolutely.
So I feel
Absolutely.
passionate about that.
Absolutely. No, that's absolutely fine. I've spoken with lots of African artists and non-artists, like famous and non-famous people from Africa, African continent over the past few months. Very interesting that some of them, I really don't know why this came out, all of the sudden, because it's being like an ongoing things. And it shouldn't be matter. And they said what exactly you said right now. But the things that I don't understand, like some of Iran from Middle East, we don't know these things, and I'm learning through each one of your opinions and see, okay, where we're gonna get through these things, because I'm gay, so return to Iran, I will be executed, no matter I was living in Australia or not. And my name is fly through the blacklist. So if I return to Iran, I will be arrested upon my arrival at airport. That's why I can't see my family. And
That's terrible.
It's 2020. That blows my mind.
really, yes, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, but that's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but that's okay. And that's why I'm trying to learn, okay, you both were born in America, but because you've got a different skin color, so I don't get these things. And what's your opinion, David, regarding of this question?
Outside of, everything that Julie said, being a Black man, it's really, it's quite a journey, because when you see in the country right now, and to have to um, have this type of movement and this type of, it's it makes you sad to realize that we're not what we try to pretend that we are. Everything is not as equal as we try to pretend that it is. And even friends that I have who are not black have a problem with black people standing up and talking about their the pride of who they are. And here's the thing. A lot of people, it comes from a root of not wanting to acknowledge the history of where black people come from. What people don't understand, like a lot of people go, or white people or people who are not black go, well, if we said white power or white this, then we would be racist. So when you guys do it, but what they don't understand is this culture, black people were brought here and we were stripped of our humanity. And we were told that because we are black, that we are less than. So black pride comes from a place of us telling ourselves what you were taught is not true. You are not worthy. You are not less than. You are not 3/5 of a human being. None of that is true. So black pride and the pride that black people tries to express doesn't come from us saying we're better than anybody. What it comes from is us saying we're not who you tried to make us believe that we were. And they don't want to accept that. And that's where the problem is. So it's it's disheartening and it's hard, but we're going we all I this is what I believe. And like I talked to you about in my stand-up, finding the things that make us more alike than we are different. What me and Julie want for our family is what you want for yours, is what the white man in Mississippi wants for his, what the people who want in Alabama want for theirs, in New York, in Chicago. People want their families to be okay. They want them to be happy. They want them to be safe. They want them to have the ability to have the right to go out here and make a living and things be fair, level the playing field. Like I said, when I first moved to this town, the first thing they did is let me know I was a black comedian and sent me over to the Black Night without even seeing what kind of comedy I did. I could have been a political ventriloquist. They had no idea. They just looked at the color of my skin and they immediately determined where I should play. And that is systemic racism. That's what people don't understand what we mean by that. People don't understand that systemic racism comes in different, white privilege comes in places that it doesn't mean that you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. It doesn't mean that your family is rich. What it means is you have the privilege of being able to raise a son and not have to tell him that he may or may not be stopped by the police and treated a certain kind of way, and this is how he better act to keep it from going south and him ending up dead. That is a privilege white people have that black people don't. It is a privilege that white people have to go in and interview for a job and not get it and never have to think, did I not get it because I'm white?
Yeah.
Now, there are white people who will right now yell out, well, there's affirmative action. And now they'll do that. But here's the thing. Affirmative action would not have had to be put in place if it was not put in place to offset a system that was already in place.
Absolutely.
That's why it exists. It's not as it exists because we went somewhere and marched. And so, like all of this is hard. And it's a lot to navigate on top of trying to be happy, raise a family,
And
deal with a pandemic.
And quarantine.
And at the same time, like black people are dealing with a pandemic, unemployment, an epidemic, and we dealing with everybody in the country thinking that we not shit because we go on Black Lives Matter, which they think that we mean we're better than somebody. We're not saying we're better than anybody. What we're saying is we're equal. Treat us that way. So that's the way I feel about it. And, you know.
And that's one thing, just to piggyback on what you said about regarding white power versus black power. Like, white power insinuates that white people are better than.
That's where it came
black
from.
people should go back to, or less than, should be enslaved.
Right.
Whereas it insinuates white supremacy.
Yes.
Whereas black power is just a celebration of a culture. It's a celebration of how your grandmother made Sunday night dinner. It's a celebration of music and how we dance and some of the songs we listen to.
And the jargon and the way in which we speak and the way in which we relate to each other. It's like, again, it's saying that you meaning society, white society, tried to strip us of all of our self-esteem and our self-worth. And by reminding ourselves with black pride, reminds ourselves that we're not who they tried to tell us we were for 400 years. That's all it means. And had we not been treated that way, we wouldn't have to do that. But white power has always meant we're better than you. We're supreme. We're the dominant race. And that is not true.
And that's not okay.
And it's not okay. You know what I mean? So
in culture, it's not okay. And but guys, don't worry, come to Australia.
That's next. If we got to deal with 4 more years of what we've been dealing with, that just might be where we end up. Oh my gosh. We are trying to smile through it.
Yeah.
You got me here in Australia. Whenever you're ready, just pack and come here. Relax.
Be like, ding dong, we're here. Show us some dingoes. I don't know what to say.
Guys, as much as I love to continue this conversation, it was my pleasure having both of you on my show. I love what you do. I hope to meet you one day in reality.
Yes.
I would love that.
I'll be traveling the world. I will make sure that when I come there and she's with me, that we will make sure we get a chance to say hello and have dinner.
For sure.
Absolutely. And it was my pleasure. Julie, thank you for being here. David, I love you so much. I love what you do. And please keep doing it.
Thank you.
And you're my first guest of Borna Kazarni's show, proudly. And we eventually made it after 3 months. So, and I'm so glad. So,
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Did you like our conversation?
Yes, it was great.
Yeah.
It was much different than most of the conversations and interviews that I do. So this was definitely different. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate you having me. I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
Anytime, guys. Love you. I know it's a little bit late. You have to put the girls in the bed, probably.
You too.
You have to go.
Yeah.
It's good to meet you again. So, well, have a wonderful time.
All right,
Thank you.
my friend. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.